Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and you already know the deal. I'm excited about helping businesses, women businesses, black-owned businesses, brown businesses, helping our community grow. And I have the pleasure of having Ms. Joyce and Claire. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me here.
It's so great to have you. And I know you have been a part of the Chamber for a little while now, and you have an interesting business. A business, I guess that started, the concept of your business started several years ago.
Yes.
And you own a company named Coast Space.
I do.
But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about you and what pushed you to entrepreneurship.
Of course. So I am Joy St. Clair. I'm the owner and founder of Coast Space in Miami Gardens. Before I started Coast Space, I was in corporate America. I supported a Fortune 500 company, supporting the management team and just in the customer service level, logistics, and all the things that I really enjoy doing. And when the pandemic came, at first we all thought it was going to be a week or two. And in my position, I always had the availability to work from home, but I just like to be in the building. So when the pandemic first began, as a cancer survivor, my boss was like, go home, and in a couple of weeks, it'll all blow over, and then you just come on back.
Right.
And we all know how that went.
Right.
And I became a remote worker. And at first, it was great working from home. I can get out of bed, go right to work, the commute, can't top that. And then it immediately began to be less great. I noticed I did not want my job in my house. My house is where I go to get away from my job.
Right.
So after it became less fun, I knew that I didn't want to go back to the building, but I know I didn't want my job in my house anymore. And so I began to look into this concept of co-working. So once it was safe to go outside again, I ventured out into the world to look for somewhere to co-work. And everywhere I would go would not be for me. I would walk into a place and I'm the only black or brown person, which is never a great feeling. Or I go into a space and it's loud house music and I'm trying to work and it's like, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't really for me. And I would keep trying different places. And I remember one day I was driving home and I just had this moment of clarity. And I just realized the place I'm looking for does not exist. But I know exactly what I'm looking for. So I took a bet on myself and I created the space.
So before you go there,
yes,
before you took that bet, so like you said, you didn't want to conduct business at your house. So you were looking for space to basically work for the other company, if I'm hearing you right.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
I love the company. Nothing bad to say, but I also knew my time was maybe coming to an end in corporate America. It could be exhausting, code switching, being, as a black woman, people often are surprised when you react in a normal way. And that's exhausting. And even a great company like the one I worked for, there'll be moments where someone is putting out angry black woman bait, and when you take it, they're shocked. And I'm like, well, I'm shocked that you're shocked because you called her and she came.
Right.
But yeah, I just knew that it was time for me to venture out on my own. And once I had this concept of CoSpace and I realized it was a good idea and that people were finding me and staying and joining and supporting this business, I took the leap. And I decided, all right, CoSpace, we're going to do this thing, and we're just going to run. We're going to ride off to the sunset together and see what we can do.
Okay.
And here we are.
And how long ago did you begin this entrepreneurial journey?
So CoSpace opened in February of 2023.
Okay.
So it's been a fun journey so far. It's not my first business, but it's my first business like this, and that's pretty much all by myself. And it's been very telling. It has been a learning lesson. It continues to be a learning lesson. But most importantly, it's a labor of love.
Right.
It's a very intentional space. People walk in and they're like, I feel great here. I love how I feel. And I'm like, yeah, you do, because I designed it for that reason.
Right.
So the pillars of CoSpace. There's 3 pillars.
Okay.
It's co-working, content creation, and collaboration. That's where it's CoSpace.
Right.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I got it.
I'm pretty much a rapper, like the way I'm laying this out.
So break that down for us.
So with co-working, it is a space where you can come and have the most productive day you will probably ever have. Where there's open seating for you to come, sit, work by yourself or with your team. You can come, and it's very intentional. We have standing desks, we have the normal tabletops, we even have seats on the floor. So if you're a person who likes to sit in a non-traditional way, you can do so. There's a science behind it. I won't go into it now, but the short version is sometimes sitting lower on the floor helps your brain wake up a little bit. It takes it out of autopilot. So it's very intentional that I have that type of seating as well. With the collaboration, we have a podcast studio where you can come and record your episodes. You can do your vlogs. You can record any type of content that you like. We also have an event space where you can have meetings, you can have seminars, whatever you need to have in that collaborative space. And then, of course, the last co is content. So we have a host of services that are intentionally created around social media. We do social media strategy sessions. We do Canva workshops, Reels classes. This weekend we had a podcast 101 workshop. We do a lot of things in that content space because as Black creators, we often don't have a space where we can just go and be creative.
Okay.
People will literally come in CoSpace. You'll have someone who's having a meeting here, someone who's recording a podcast in the podcast room, and someone, probably me, randomly recording a reel, and everyone's just coexisting and being great. And that's part of the magical, not so secret sauce of CoSpace is that it's community. We're a communal people. We thrive in areas where we feel seen and supported, and CoSpace is that space for us to come and just be. Drop your shoulders, feel seen, you can feel appreciated and not just tolerated, and you can most importantly get some work done.
Right.
All in the space that's not too far from your community, right in Miami Gardens.
And so, again, I'm going through your journey of looking for a space to work for someone else. And so I guess you started to pick off the cherries, I guess, to basically come up with what CoSpace is. And February of 23, and here we are going into 25, so going on 2 years, and that's a good thing because they say most businesses fail in the first year. What has been that energy? I mean, I hear it. And what is it that makes you get up every day to really go and be this entrepreneur? And you got to give me a quick snippet of that because we're going to take a break in a second.
Sure. So this one is a quick answer. It is community. I love what I'm doing. I love the people that I'm doing it with and for. And I thrive in spaces where I can walk in and feel like these are my people. And it's very easy to go to work when you're surrounded by people who are creatives that happen to be business owners or that happen to be entrepreneurs. Like, those are my people. And when we find each other, the magic just happens.
And what do you find? Well, I'm not going to go there because we're going to have to take a break. It's, a great conversation. We're going to get a word from one of our supporters, and we'll be right back.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast-track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
And welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and I'm here with Joy, and we're talking about CoSpace and all the great things. And she's embarking on her second year. Now, it all sounds great. What have been the challenges? I know there had to be some challenges.
Always.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge was explaining this concept of co-working to people.
Okay.
And when I first had this idea of creating a Black co-working space, I would tell people, here's what I want to do. And they would give me that face of concern, but not sure how to tell me they were concerned. And I remember I had this moment where I was explaining to a person the concept. You go to this space and you work there instead of working from home. And if they could have laughed me out the room, they would have done
I
so.
want to do that.
A lot of people are like, well, if I'm working from home, why would I go and pay to work somewhere else?
Right.
And that's it's a legitimate question. But I had the realization that that's not my people.
Right.
Some people want to work from home and be by themselves, and that's a perk of being able to work from home. But some of us are working remotely, but we don't want to work from home.
Right.
And a lot of us thrive in situations where we're around our people, where we're in a communal setting. And the moment of clarity for me was when I realized I had to stop explaining co-working and instead find the people who are looking for me and make it easy for them to find me. So I made this pivot of explaining co-working, no more of that. If you understand what co-working is, find me, I'm going to make it easy for you to find me. And so once I made that pivot of looking for my people, identifying my client, everything got a lot easier. That challenge will always exist because I'm always trying to explain things to people and find new customers and keep my memberships rolling in. But when I made that pivot from explaining to attracting, everything changed for me. The challenge was no more.
Well, the thing is, when you think about being an entrepreneur, obviously you're selling something.
Always.
And to be, I guess I would say, locked in or basically on an island by yourself, it's very limiting.
Yeah.
And so you bring a platform in which basically you can engage with other entrepreneurs, you can engage with opportunities that you may not, in particular if you're working from home.
Absolutely. The key is resources. Oftentimes when people are working at CoSpace, you will be sitting near someone who you might overhear something, or they're taking a break and you're taking your break and you just start talking to each other. But so many partnerships, so many brand deals have been developed and curated under the roof of CoSpace. It never gets old. When I see two people that I wish would connect and they do, and it happens at CoSpace, I'm like, yes, that's what we're here to do.
Right.
So I think that is another part of what makes CoSpace special, what keeps it in business, what keeps the bills paid, is that sense of community. It's not a secret. That is what we sell at CoSpace. It looks like a membership. It looks like a room to work, but what it really is community and resources.
You know, we live in a different world today, obviously, especially after the pandemic.
Yes.
Now everybody's Zooming or team meetings and so on and so forth. And I see that a lot of our younger folks coming out of college, they're not necessarily trying to go into corporate America or go work for someone. Where do you see that landing in terms of young, energized folks who, want to become the next gazillionaire? Do you see that happening, them coming to CoSpace? Or tell me a little bit about that journey.
A lot of them already do. I love that. This next generation, and even my generation, there's been a shift. Mm-hmm. We have been taught for a long time that we had to go to corporate America and go play nice and do what they say to do and just be a good employee, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll get promoted, or maybe if you're lucky, they'll let you stay long and you can retire. And something happened. I think the pandemic really pushed that movement forward mm-hmm. faster, but it was slowly happening where we just were realizing we can do this on our own.
Right.
We don't have to go play by their rules. We don't have to cut our locks off anymore. We can wear our real hair, and we can speak the way we want to speak, and we can still be successful. We can still be professional. And I think once you have that realization, it is really hard to go back and put the costume back on.
Okay.
And I think this next generation doesn't even want to put the costume on at all. They realize what you have to do and don't have to do, and they are finding a way to do it for themselves. So now you insert CoSpace. This is the backdrop of where you're going to make that happen for yourself. So if you are a Generation I or that next generation that is just full throttle entrepreneur, you don't have a space. But CoSpace is your space. You can come here and that's your office for the day if you want it to be, right? This is your meeting space. You don't have to go rent a stuffy office and have that overhead. You can come to CoSpace and it's a vibe. It's a great place to be. There's snacks and you can come and have your meetings here. You can record your content here. You can make this what you need it to be and there's no attachment. When you're done, you go home. You don't have to have that overhead.
And what about that thing, I guess, that they call, how does it go, institutional learning, or, that information that others that have been there that provide, to keep you from falling into traps. How does that come into play?
That is one of my favorite parts of CoSpace. If the information is there, there's people there with various levels of experience and various superpowers and gifts. And if you choose to tap into it, they're there. It's a very open space where you can talk to your neighbor. It happens all the time. Just the other day, someone was working on something and they go to their table and they said, "Hey, can I ask you, how do you think this looks?" And lucky them, the person that they were tapping is a very professional graphic designer that has worked for lots of companies. And she gave her a mini masterclass and changed her life. And she's sitting here struggling with Canva, trying to figure it out. And you don't even, the next table over, you have that other generation who's an expert. And this would not have happened if you were at a Starbucks, This happened because you were both at CoSpace. You both passed the vibe check, you're here to work, and you connected with each other. And now, this person is your mentor. They exchanged information, they did a joint post together, which I love to see. And this is the kind of thing that happens. It used to happen back in the day in corporate America, but it stopped. We've become so siloed. We're not always around our people when we're in other spaces. So it's hard to find that person who wants to pour into you. They may not even know you need them or where you are. But at CoSpace, they're right there at a table across from you.
And a little bit of time we have left. So what's the future of CoSpace?
Ooh, good question. So with CoSpace, I've been allowing the community to really drive what I focus on and what we do with CoSpace. So the future is bright, but it's not set in stone just yet. I'm very flexible with what CoSpace can become and how it can grow. So I'm very strategic in how I take that approach. But for now, I'm very open to expansion and just seeing what CoSpace can become.
Right. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
The best way is our Instagram. We are _CoSpace. That through Instagram, you can find my contact information. You can DM me. I answer every DM unless you're talking crazy. But that's the easiest way. You can also go to our website. It's welcometocospace.com. And from there, you can find my contact information as well. We're located in Miami Gardens. We're off of 27th Avenue and 175th Street. And you can pop in. You can come in anytime during business hours, which are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You don't need an appointment. You don't have to call first. Just pull up.
Wow, this has been a great conversation. So if you need a space to go hang out and connect with some folks and learn a little bit and build your business, it's about CoSpace. So if you want to learn more about the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, go to www.m-dcc.org. I don't know why I threw that www in there. You already know that. Anyway, and call us at 305-751-8648. This has been the Miami-Dade Chamber Member Connection. Thank you, Joy. It's been a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.